Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vibes. Love to welcome here Amethyst Mahoney, who is an author, a tarot card reader, and you used to be a psychologist.
Yes.
Wow. Well, we're going to have a great conversation today. Before we get into it, tell us a little bit more about you.
So I'll just start with the psychology part because a lot of people are interested in that. I was a therapist for 13 years, and the funny thing about therapy is that everybody who's actually gotten their PhDs, like I have, and gone into it, always thinks the next thing is going to be what helps our clients, the next conference, the next theory, the next whatever type of therapy. And what we found, and all of my colleagues could attest to this over the years, is that our clients would make some progress and then they would kind of fall back. And nobody could figure out why. But talk therapy was the golden child of therapy and really still is. And talk therapy doesn't work for trauma. And
Mm.
it can actually reinforce the neural pathways in your brain that cause negative issues, and it can make trauma worse and it can re-traumatize people. So to this day, it is still held up as the golden standard. And so I get a lot of flack from people because they're like, go to therapy, therapy's great, therapy works, but it doesn't work for certain things. And it definitely does not work for trauma. And that is what the majority of people are dealing with these days. So I had been reading tarot cards since I was 12 years old, and I started incorporating them into my client sessions, kind of like art therapy, but with a twist. And my clients started having amazing results. So my colleagues asked me, "What are you doing?" And I taught them, and they started getting really great results too. But over time, someone somewhere found out that I was using tarot cards, and there was like a state board meeting, and all this stuff came down, and they were like, "You can't use tarot, and it's evil," and blah, blah, the dumb things people say. And I said, "Well, you could do this with any images, but I use tarot cards because they cover everything in life." I have never met anyone in my, I'm almost 50 years, that their issue or what they were needing to address was not covered somewhere in this little pack of cards. And so I said, you could do it with art or whatever, but you're not going to get the best results because it doesn't have all of the images. We use the cards to connect with your subconscious and really dig into what's driving you. And they said, "We don't care." And I said, "But look at my clients. Everyone's getting great results." And they said, "We don't care." So I said, "Fine, I will quit and go be a tarot reader." That is what I did.
Do you have any abilities, or you just know how to read cards?
I'm really good at reading energy, and I'm pretty psychic. I mean, I don't like to throw around that word a lot, but I have had dreams where I can predict things and stuff like that. But I really think all of that stuff is normal. I call it connecting with radio universe. I think everything is energy. If you read any quantum physics books, there is no difference between quantum physics and actual abilities and what people call psychic. To me, it's normal. And so if you're connecting with the energy of people or you're connecting with the energy of what's going on, and some of us are just tuned in better. Like if you're, I always say, if you're dialing a radio, I know a lot of people these days are like, "What does that mean?" But if you're in a really old car and you're dialing the radio, you get static, and then a station will come in and you kind of have to jiggle the knob to tune it in correctly. And I think that some of us are just tuned into some stations and better than other people for whatever reason. So yes and no, but I'm really good at reading energy, just not on purpose. Like I just get a feel like for people and things like right away. But to me, it's no different than if you get into an elevator and some creepy person gets in and all the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. We have those warning systems built in. It's normal.
Mhm.
Mine is just like a little bit tuned up at a slightly higher level.
Hmm. And you use this in business?
I do. So when I started reading tarot cards, I did a couple of fairs and everything, and my booth was always had lines of people out the door. And then I started making thousands of dollars at, events. And some people were like, my booth was $40 and I didn't even cover it. Like, what are you doing? So so I called myself a reluctant business coach for many years. I started teaching people what I was doing because I quit the fairs. I quit working nights and weekends. I didn't work parties. I worked when I wanted to. I had some chronic pain and some issues. I'm a disabled veteran. So, and then I was in a really bad car accident where I was getting migraines for, never had them before, but I was getting them like up to 18 days a month. So it was tough to start, seeing clients because I would just tell them, like, I may have a pain day, we may have to reschedule. Nobody cared. And so my business just kept growing, and I made my first six figures just reading tarot cards. And so, people were like, what? Right? Like, nobody makes that reading tarot cards. And I'm like, oh, yes, there's actually really easy ways to do that. And so I got drawn into business coaching. And I've had phenomenal success with clients, getting them from making $200-300 a month. Some people losing a couple $100 a month, because they would buy like their WordPress website or whatever tools they use online. So they were actually losing money a month. And I would get them to $10, $15, $25,000 a month. I have a client right now making $38,000 a month consistently, and she's not a business coach. None of my clients are business coaches. She's actually a postpartum coach, which I didn't know anything about that. And I haven't had babies, and I learned way more than I ever wanted to working with her. But I've had other clients, one of my clients does crystal energy healings and grids for pets. Just anything. I only have two clients over the years that actually work as business coaches. And my role is I will not teach you how to do that unless you've had a successful business yet. So there are tons of ways to connect with clients and make money online. Besides my business coaching, I decided, well, you know what? We need to confront this and see what's going on. So I actually wrote a series of books. Here's my books. Hold on, here we go. So there's the Life Map System, the Light After Darkness, 52 Tarot Spreads, and the Trauma Informed Meanings of the Cards. Then, of course, I have like my business books as well, and I have a few of those coming out. I'm very proud of my books. I'm sorry, let me show you all my books. I have more, and I have a business planner. Right? Like, I love my books. I'm an avid reader, but that seemed to be the key.
How does this work with business?
So with the business planning, you can use tarot cards to figure out what is going on with you subconsciously. So looking at the cards, what you want to do is look at what's going on in your subconscious. So there's a lot of different statistics that people have pulled up. The only one that I've seen for studies is around 80% of what drives you is actually what's going on in your subconscious. People these days are like 85, 95%, 100%, but anywhere between, I'd say 60 to 85% is really, people don't always know what's driving them. So I look at it as, I think it was Socrates that said, know thyself. And if you don't know what's going on in your subconscious, you don't always know what is going on and why you're getting the results that you're getting in your business. Because you may be very motivated to be like, oh, I'm trying to get clients. I'm trying to set up my website. I've got all the things I need to do. I'm doing ads. I'm doing all these things, but the money isn't coming. And so looking at what is really going on in your business and how you want to do business. I just did a post today, and I'm trying to remember the exact statistic. I think it said it was either 60 or 80% of people don't consider their intuition when they are doing their business. But there's another study that shows that if you actually do, if you make business decisions from both a logical and analytical, as well as an intuitive, or kind of what some people call the divine feminine, but that flowing kind of place, right? So as a Christian, you might talk about it as like the voice of God, right? That connecting to that divine place where you just know that this is what you're being led to do. And when I was growing up, I actually found a deck of tarot cards when I was 12. And so I would draw a card every night and I would light a candle and I would pray to Jesus. And that's how I used the cards, right? So it was a very kind of meditative, prayerful practice to where I could get into that still quiet, right? Still, quiet place where you can listen to what you're actually being led to do. I think a lot of people get prayer wrong because they think of it as, a petition, which is one type of it. But if you're not giving yourself that quiet place and that contemplative time to actually listen for the answers, then you're missing out on what I think is the majority of it. And so when you take the time to look into the tarot cards, what you do is you talk through the card and then you can just ask God, what is this trying to tell me? Or what are you trying to tell me? What will help me with my business right now? Right? So do you want to do one so you can kind of see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because I've had this conflict on whether I want to keep doing the show.
Okay.
Uh, I built up a pretty good amount of subscribers, and then all of a sudden, like YouTube comes in, and then they wipe out a whole bunch at one time. They just
Mm,
took 200 and some odd away from me, and it's discouraging, and am I doing something wrong? Am I
right.
being told I shouldn't do this anymore? What is the deal? So, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Okay, so in a question like that, I would actually draw two cards. We call it a choice spread.
Mhm.
And so the first card would be what is the most likely outcome? And this is not predictive in a sense of the cards are going to tell you the future. This
Right.
is more of getting into that place of your inner knowing plus whatever God has to say to you, right? So if I want to make sure that people are kind of clear on that and like you feel comfortable with that
Yeah,
because
that's
we can move.
fine.
Okay. So what is the most likely outcome if you quit your podcast? And what is the most likely outcome if you keep doing it? So the first card I drew, and this is from what's called the Mystic Realms Tarot. This is actually my specific tarot deck.
Mhm.
And this is the full card. And this is if you quit doing your podcast. So what do you see when you look at this picture? You can cover my face if that's sometimes it's easier for
It's-
people.
to me, it looks like somebody walking through the desert with a dog.
Okay. And what comes up for you when you think about that, like walking through the desert?
Mm. To me, it's almost calming,
Hmm.
like, getting away from everyone and, you know, being, I don't even know how to describe it. Just, it's almost like that peaceful being able to just focus on something other than what else is going on in the world.
Right. So scripturally based, Jesus went out into the desert to spend time to prepare himself for his mission.
Mhm.
So there is that connection as well. Now, if you stay doing the podcast, we have the Six of Wands, which in this deck is a woman, but what do you see when you look at this card?
To me, it's that Tolkien kind of feel where I don't know, that just that era, the you know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
That's that's what comes to mind.
So when you think about the Tolkien kind of era, what kind of like energy or feelings do you get from that?
It's the quest,
Hmm.
the quest. That's the only way to describe it. Uh,
Does your podcast feel like a quest?
it does. It
Is it a
does.
good quest or does it feel like you don't want the ring kind of quest?
No, I mean, I get to meet so many different people, and I learn a lot of different things that I wouldn't otherwise learn, and trying to help other people at the same time.
Right.
So that's what it is for me, anyway.
So, on the one hand, you've got the quit and go into the desert. And on the other hand, you have this is actually a victory card, the quest card that you showed it. Which one feels more right to you?
Uh, that's hard to say. Mm, I I don't know. I don't know.
This is actually like, I'm not surprised because that's the answer. If I was looking at this, I almost feel like, why does that keep falling out? I almost feel like it's this is kind of like a passion thing for you,
Hmm.
but this is also a necessity. So I do you want me to know what I would say?
Sure.
As your expert tarot reader, I would actually say like, is there a period of time that you can take a break while you reassess?
I just did that actually.
But how long?
I took several months off.
Okay. And you're still kind of feeling like, eh.
I'm still on the fence about it.
So what are you on the fence about exactly?
Well, I mean, I know that I want to help people. I do. I want to
Hmm.
help others. But it's all every time I take that 2 or 3 steps forward, it's almost as if I'm getting pushed backwards another 3 or 4 steps.
So are you talking more about you want to monetize your podcast because you had talked about the subscribers and things like that?
That was part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This takes a lot of my money, a
And
lot of
time and energy.
lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy.
Yeah. So it's always a balance in your business about making those financial decisions of, would my time, energy, and money be better spent somewhere else where I could get better results and then go back to doing things that aren't making as much money and build them up? Or should I throw more money at this and time and energy to try to build it up to make money at the expense of me not being able to do other things?
Well, I got a lot of time on my hands. I'm retired, so
Right? So if you weren't doing your podcast, at least for, let's say you took off all year, all 2025. 2025 is a hermit year, by the way. This is my business planner. This is my hermit card. Right? The hermit goes into the cave to figure out their life and figure out what they're going to do. And eventually they come out of the cave and share things with the rest of the world. So I think, if I know you want to help people and everything you're going to do in your business helps people, and can we just all agree that business is to help people? We already know that. However, if you aren't making money in your business, it's not a business, it's an expensive hobby.
Good.
So I would say, what could you do to switch things around so that you could actually bring in income and give yourself some breathing room so that then you can, even slow down the pace of your podcast or other things that you want to do so that it doesn't feel like I have to make money off of this and that's my only egg I've got in one basket. I didn't say your eggs in a basket, so I have to clarify. You just have one egg. You're like, what?
To be honest with you, I really could use extra help, but you have to pay for that, and I don't have money to pay for extra help when everything's going into the editing tools, and
Yeah.
you have to pay for Zoom and some of these other platforms, and
It's expensive.
That
I'm about to
it
hit
is.
my yearly, I host on Kajabi now, and it's like 2 grand in about 5 days. I'm gonna have to, and that's just one thing that I use. Business can be expensive. And so anytime you're looking at that, my goal with my clients is always monetize first. Create a program, create some kind of offer. And I like to focus on what I call high ticket. It's not the for real high ticket that people talk about, because most of the time when you talk about high ticket, you're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. The psychology of a buyer changes around the $2,000 mark, but most people don't want to start there. And so most of my clients will start out with like a 6 week, $600 program. It's $597. And then if the person buys it, pays in full, or buys it and pays that day, it's $497, right? So 500, 6 weeks, $500. And so that is what I encourage people to do, is to look at what kind of program could you create that you could teach people something over 6 weeks, and you could charge them $500, which you want to charge $497, because the sevens, they still work. I don't care what people say, they work. They convert. So, I mean, if you were going to do something like that, what would you like to do in your business? Because monetizing a platform like podcasting, trying to go viral, YouTube, stuff like that, that's really hard.
Well,
And
I'm monetized, mind you,
yeah,
but I don't make as much as I put into it. Let's put it that way.
right, right. So you monetize, but you don't monetize.
Right.
And that's where you want to be, because number one, it's a business, but number two, you have to. You only get 3 years, according to the IRS, to put money in something that you can then tax deduct and call a business. Otherwise, you're done when you start a new business. But you get 3 years, you have to make money. Like that's a rule. So, over what you're spending to make the business run. And so what could you do? What could you teach that you could go out there and tell people about? That's what I would look at. And
What
then,
not to do.
yeah, what not to do in your business. But even like if you know how to podcast, you could even teach people a course on that. Or it could be anything that even not business related.
Well, how do people get a hold of you?
If you want to have a coaching session just like this. But this is what I like to talk to people about. Like, what are you really passionate about? And how can you make money doing it? So my website is amethystmahoney.com. And I have the business planner. I have a bunch of books. I do the Tarot Empowered Business System. And I've been resetting up my things, because I have charged, 5, 10, 15, $20,000 to work with people. But I also have things that are on my website, especially now, $27 for my book and course, or $47 if you want the actual physical book, but you also get the course. And so that is how I'm trying to give back in my own way. Is it's not thousands of dollars, right? And you can actually make good money doing some lower price programs like that. But those are the things that cost a lot of money and back end funnels and stuff. So when you go to my website and you see I have, these very inexpensive things, flip over to my work with me page instead. Because doing those programs, setting up those programs for yourself, is going to be much more financially reciprocal, I guess, to compensate you more quickly than trying to do the low end stuff. And people that I meet, they're very caring, they're very kind, they want to help other people, and they think, oh, if I make my programs as low as I can, that's not how it works. So you have to have something that's at least a few hundred to a couple $1,000s to actually start getting clients. Then once you get a couple like that, then you can relook at, okay, now I have some breathing room and some money. So now do I want to go back and do my podcast or write a book, or like, what do I want to do now? Because then you have choices. And that's all money is. It gives you choices.
All right, so that's amethystmahoney.com.
Amethystmahoney.com. That's my name. That's my
And
website.
now, is your website the only place people can get your books?
Yeah. I do have a couple of them on an Etsy shop, but I'm probably going to close that down. My stuff just doesn't do very well on like Shopify, Etsy, Amazon, all those other places. Just doesn't, it's a money sink for me. So sometimes people are like, why is your social media not up? You know, why do you not have play? Because I don't want to. It's a waste. It's a waste. Streamline your business, make people come to you. Don't be like people like you have to be everywhere your clients are. They'll come to you. That's just like a myth. The customer is not always right. You can make them walk over to your door. It's fine. So yeah, just my website.
Okay. Well, I will put all those links in the description just to make it easier for folks to find you. But
Okay.
Amethyst, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button for my regulars. You guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. Till the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network